Warning: the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
How many people can spell syncopated listening to this program? None. 2015. Spell syncopated to yourself. See how good you are. Kids come over from India, they can spell syncopated in 3 minutes. 3 minutes in America, they win a spelling bee. Yeah, right. So anyway, I love this song because I grew up listening to the news every night on television, which began, it was in New York, I don't know which channel, I think Channel 5, and they played the syncopated clock, composed by Leroy Anderson, and it organized my brain after a hard day at school and then at play, sitting down at 5 o'clock to the news and eating a steak dinner with French fries and polishing it off with cherry vanilla ice cream. And then my father would come home from work, white in his face, seeing his spoiled child being ruined by his wife. And he'd say, "You're going to kill the kid. You're going to destroy the kid. He'll never amount to anything. What are you treating him like a pharaoh for?" Well, he put a stop to that. And here I am 750,000 years later on the Savage Nation, about to begin part 2 of propaganda and why we need it to defeat ISIS. If you missed yesterday's show, I thought it was one of my favorite. Many of you loved it. Many of you missed it. Many of you didn't get it. I talked about propaganda as it was used in World War II and how it helped defeat the Nazis and the Japanese, and how we're not using propaganda at all because of the cowardice in the arts in particular. So I want to continue today with that and other subjects. I'm going to not just do that all day. That was one of the things. I'm going to talk about the sex therapists of Silicon Valley. Found an interesting article on that today, and how high-tech guys are very bad, not only in bed, but with women. They have no idea, they say, how to meet women, talk to women, and go further than that, because they're stuck in algorithms. And they think that women are just a broken code in need of debugging. You hear this, Robert? Or a mathematical equation. They don't know how to interact with human beings. They sound like most Republicans. And by the way, speaking of Republicans, did you see the scandal? Another, Dennis Hastert. I mean, the guy was a wrestling coach. Like, I didn't know it was with boys, right? They didn't know what it was, what he was being blackmailed for. $3.5 million, a hush fund, rather. So I said, wait a minute. Okay, let's put 2 and 2 together. What's he covering up? It's got to be sex. Is it a boy or a girl? I say, wrestling coach, bingo. Oh, another Republican and another boy scandal. That's a shocker. God and country. Meanwhile, he's wrestling with boys in their underwear. Oh, God. Is it any wonder that people become psychotic maniacs like Bernie Sanders? Is it any wonder that a guy like Bernie Sanders can get anywhere in America? In my day, Bernie Sanders, who conned the people from Vermont, he comes from Brooklyn, communist through and through, a Lower East Side left-wing fanatic, couldn't get anywhere in New York, writes rape fantasies about women before he's a politician, which came out now. Now he's running for the presidency, Bernie Sanders. You know, do we have any Bernie Sanders sounds so they know who I'm talking about? Most people never heard of him. Just to get a gist of him. He makes me sound like I'm speaking the King's English. Listen to this guy. We have Bernie? What's a dead shot?
There is growing frustration that members of Congress, mostly men, I should add, are trying to roll back the clock on women's reproductive rights. In this case, the right of women to receive contraceptive services through their insurance plans.
Okay, you know who he is now. The guy who speaks with that heavy, like, New York, Brooklyn accent. Bernie Sanders, tax the rich. Women aren't being treated fairly. Bernie is, Bernie. Unbelievable. Is any wonder people could take him? How could this guy get where he is? We have such a stupid nation. It's unbelievable to me. But then I was reading that in New York, a guy like de Blasio, the most incompetent. Let me put it to you this way. Let's talk about the facts. De Blasio is a community organizer, supported the communist uprising in Nicaragua. He wins in a shocking election in New York last time in a fluke when most people don't go to the polls. And we read today that his constituency is that the majority of his constituency are blacks in New York City. that they were hoodwinked by him because they're not getting what they were promised they would get, number one. So in other words, this communist was put in power by the black population in New York. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the entire Democrat Party is based upon division between the races, division between the sexes, and class warfare. And what you have to know is because of the changing demographics, we're liable to see a revolution in this country in your lifetime. Not in the direction that you would like, in the direction of the communists. They're just liable to pull off a communist revolution in the country. When you see a lowlife like Bernie Sanders, who in my day, I would say in one of my old insults, the guy in my day, the most he could do was run an ice cream store, a souvlaki stand. The guy wouldn't have the brains to get beyond one Frankfurter stand in Manhattan if he, let's say, had no starter in life. The most. He'd sell hot dogs and argue with most of the customers. They wouldn't even buy from him the next day. What do you mean you want sauerkraut for $1.50? I'm going to give you sauerkraut on top of it all. Mustard, you want another 10 cents. He'd drive everyone away from the hot dog stand. This guy already, it's a presidential material. And he's talking communist rhetoric. So where is this country going, you ask yourself? How could the country get any worse? Oh, it's going to get a lot worse. Think Baltimore. Obama, Eric Holder, now, of course, Loretta Lynch has joined the pack. Obama, Holder, and de Blasio attacked the police for 6 straight months. The city burned. The police were told to stand down by the goofball who runs the city. Now, black residents are screaming that the police who used to protect them aren't coming out to protect them. They say they can't come out of their apartments to even go shopping anymore because those police aren't there. The very pigs that they hated and said, you know, bring down the pigs. Remember that little story? The residents of Baltimore who hated the police are now saying there are no police to save them. So they're afraid to go to the store because there's no one to protect them. I wonder what that is about. What do you think caused that? Well, here's a headline. Cops more afraid of going to jail for doing their job than getting shot. That's San Francisco. That's been policing here for years. Don't get me wrong, the cops are very brave, but what would you do if you were them? You'd stay in the station as often as you could and count your 401k until you're retired. They're human beings, you know, they have to go home at night. They're dealing with the scum of the earth. They're the ones who have to pick up the human trash every day off the streets and keep them from killing you. So when you debase them and put them down every day, what do you expect them to do, protect you? Which leads me directly to the next story that is tied in somewhere. Not directly. It's sort of like what I'm afraid could happen here. And that's what's happening in South Africa. You don't know what's going on in South Africa because the media has a seamless seal over what's happened in South Africa since local rule took over. You don't know about the killing of whites. You don't know about the appropriation of land. You don't know about the rape epidemic. You know nothing of this. All you do is sing Kumbaya, and you think that everything is wonderful because the evil whites were thrown out. You don't know that more people have been killed under local rule than were ever killed under the rule of the so-called farmers called the Boers. You know nothing. You know nothing about reality. All you know is who George Clooney isn't and things of that nature. So what I want to do is begin and show you where things can go, not only in South Africa, not only using South Africa as a model. I want to begin by continuing on the propaganda front, meaning showing you propaganda used in World War II. Robert, please play, this is the German one, right? Clip 18. I want you to listen carefully to this newsreel clip. It's only a minute and a half long. And I want you to hear when he gets to the point where he says that the Congress became nothing but a body of parrots. Listen.
Remember these faces. Remember them well. If you ever meet them, don't hesitate.
Der eine wahrhaftige Weltanschauungspartei sein. Und zweitens, Sie wollten, Herr...
Stop thinking and follow me, cried Hitler. I will make you masters of the world. And the people answered, Heil! Heil! Stop thinking and believe in me, bellowed Mussolini, and I will restore the glory that was Rome. And the people answered, Duce, Duce. Stop thinking and follow your God Emperor, cried the Japanese warlords. and Japan will rule the world. And the people answered, Banzai, Banzai. Each system was alike in that the constitutional law-making bodies gave up their power. The Reichstag in Berlin, the House of Deputies in Rome, the Diet in Tokyo. And these elected representatives became collections of stooges, rubber stamp organizations.
Bingo.
Applauding on cue the words of the leaders.
Bingo.
Each system did away with free speech and free assembly. Each system did away with a free press and substituted a press controlled by the party. Through their ministries of propaganda, each took complete control of the theater, the movies, the radio. Every cultural activity and every channel of information was controlled by the most important members of the party. Each did away with free courts and trial by jury, and substituted courts and judges run by the party.
Oh, really? Stop thinking and believe in me. Now, who says that? Hitler said it. Mussolini said it. The emperor said it. Doesn't Obama basically say, stop thinking and believe in me? Isn't that exactly what he's been saying for all these years now? Isn't that what the Democrats teach the dummies who vote for them? As a matter of fact, so do Republicans, by the way. Stop thinking and believe in me. On one side, it's stop thinking and believe in global warming. Stop thinking and believe in homophobia. Stop thinking and believe in, fill in the blank, whatever the doxy of the moment is. And on the conservative side, it's stop thinking and believe in the Republican Party. Stop thinking and believe in, I don't know what they stand for, but something, I don't know what it is. I think they stand opposed to Democrats occasionally, at least they say so. So we are a hairbreadth away from a dictatorship, an absolute dictatorship. And as we heard in that clip, after Hitler had total power, the Reichstag became a collection of stooges. There was no longer a free press. That was chilling, wasn't it? Party members or related to the party ran everything. Does that not sound like ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, etc.? Doesn't it sound exactly like that? Isn't that what you've been complaining? When you say media bias, we've all heard that over and over again, like parrots. There's few code words that you haven't used on radio over the years. You've learned to repeat them like good little parrots. Like you all know the word Alinsky, and you think it's a secret code word. It's like a secret handshake. And somehow you think you've earned a master's degree in political science when you call radio shows and you say, Alinsky, he's following the Alinsky program. Or there's media bias on MSNBC. Well, okay, we all know that. But I'm trying to do this for you, which is raising up to a higher level, making you understand where we're at. We're way beyond baby talk. Barack Obama is such a maniac for power and control. He's so evil in my estimation. He has such evil intent towards this nation that unless he is stopped right now through impeachment, which I don't care whether it can win or lose, it will expose this man for what he really is. Unless he is stopped right now, it will get much worse before it gets at all better. As you know, Congress is nothing more than a collection of stooges, with the occasional honest, independent man or woman who was elected at the last election. But where were they put? Where were the young conservatives put by McDonald Duck and what's his name, Boner? Where did Boner and McDonald Duck put them? Put them at the back of the bus. Made sure you never heard from them again. Why? Because they're part of the collection of stooges. And the only explanation is not that they're being blackmailed because they wrestled with boys in their youth. Not at all. It's because they got what they wanted, which is large amounts of the public treasury for projects in their state. Nothing more nor less than that. Take a look at what Mitch McDonald Duck brought to Kentucky. Was it not $1 billion bridge to nowhere? I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Hey, our Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust for wealth insurance, gold and silver. Call 800-BUYCOIN. Well, the headline screams Baltimore residents who wanted cops to